So here's the tier list, chat. All right. We're gonna start in the order that they were released, from Stasis to Void to Solar to Arc 3.0. We're basically like, we made one of these videos a very long time ago. I think it was almost a year ago. And so the only 3.0 class out at the time was Stasis. And so it definitely needs updating because a lot of them had changed. We can't really split out the supers now because they all share the same aspects and fragments, and usually you're running the same ones across all supers regardless. So I think we're just going to grade the subclasses as a whole, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. There's only a couple rules, and I sent these over. We're not taking into account seasonal mods, because I don't think that's a fair way to judge. Like, so Classy Restoration from last season or Lightning Strikes Twice from this season, I don't think we can really judge the subclasses with those. We're not taking into account singes, so like for GMs and whatnot, and then we're assuming 100 rezil on all classes. Okay, I'm just gonna get it out of the way early. I don't have the aspects and fragments for Behemoth because I restarted and remade a female Titan, and I'm not regrinding the Stasis stuff, which I know is an L because it's actually a pretty solid subclass. So let's start with Behemoth. So survivability with Behemoth, what do you think?
Either 9 or 8, because Whiffer of Chains is a 40% resist.
Yep.
When you're close to Crystal, which is insane. So it's like you're not healing, but you have a 40% resist. You get overshield from shards, so it's probably a 9 on its survivability. Like, it's hard to die. Since it's Stasis, it's already like good in endgame because Font of Might exists with like Supreme Wellmaker. But that's literally only due to that mod. Otherwise, it's...
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't use it, you know? I feel like people just don't use it in, like, raids because there is just no need to use font because the raids are just easy. It's
True.
Not because it's not good.
If you were to put a total overall grade on it, where would you put it on the tier list?
I mean, probably A.
I think it's an A tier as well. That's where I was going to go. Because I don't think it's like, it's not in the elite class, but it's also not bad. I definitely think it's better than like a B tier class. They'll adjust. Like, we'll have other ones that slide into the A slot, and we'll maybe be like, we might have to rethink it, but for now I'm gonna leave it in A. Okay, next one. Let's do Revenant. I definitely think, like, overall, if I were to do an initial before we start breaking down more granularly, I would say Rev is an S tier class. I think it's above Behemoth just because the super has more utility, in my opinion, than Behemoth does. Because you can throw it and then just start clearing, whereas like Behemoth, you're stuck in the super, and I don't think it's that great with mobility. Rev, you can just lock down an entire side of the map with the tornado on its own. The tracking sometimes is scuffed, but it's super easy to proc Supreme Wellmaker and Font of Might. The shurikens and your ability to freeze is just insane. And then, like you said, Stasis again, so it's great for just DPS in general, plus the shurikens with the aspect and whatnot.
I don't know. I think...
What's up, Flux?
I think I will put it A tier, but like above Behemoth, like in the list, but still A. I don't think it makes the S cut for me, just for the survivability and...
I guess there are other subclasses that, yeah, would go into S. That is true. I do think it's above Behemoth, in my opinion. Okay, so Shadebinder. What are your initial thoughts?
I think it's super overrated, even for GMs. Like, when people use Shadebinder and stun champs and they get unstunned, like, I get mad.
Yeah, it does get wonky with champion stun interactions, for sure.
I think it's the weakest of the three. Like, I don't disagree that turrets are good, but I don't think there is any point in freezing things where it's so easy to kill them in the current meta.
Yeah, see, I think, like, back in... So
it was stronger when it came out.
Agreed. I think other stuff's kind of, like, power crept up a little bit to overtake it.
It's not bad. It's just... There is no situation where you're gonna run it, but that's not due to the subclass fold. That's because well exists.
So in terms of overall rating, mods, can we get a rating as well?
I don't think it can go to A. Like, I think I'll put it on B. To me, it's not as good as the other two. Like, overall.
You know what's so funny? I'm gonna include this in the video as well. I think so many people will say that Shadebinder is better than Behemoth and that we're crazy for thinking that it's not. B's probably doing it a little bit of disservice. I'd say it's probably like a B+ if we had like more granular ratings, but Yeah, I think a B is fair. Bubble Titan, all right, bet. Initial thoughts.
So, first of all, anything we judge regarding Titan, we need to judge it considering that Earth of Inmost is in the game. Because otherwise, literally every subclass will drop 2 tiers in the tier list.
With what in the game, sorry?
Earth of Inmost.
Ah, yeah.
Like,
true.
especially on Void the Dark, like, if you literally remove Earth of Inmost, I think it goes from S to B. But it is in the game, so we need to consider it.
I don't even know if it would take it from S to B. I'd still be an A just because of the overshield. Bastion is so
I guess
overpowered. Like, Bastion is so strong. Like, that overshield saves your ass so many times when you just should not live. Pair that with, like, the 100 resil, and it's so hard to die on that class. My initial rating would be to put it in S. I don't think it's one of the S+. I think it could be.
I agree.
But it's definitely up there. Why don't we do Tether? We'll do Invis Hunter. It's interesting because I think there's 2 ways you can play an Invis Hunter. I think you can play it really aggressive or very passive. And I think if you're playing a really passive Invis Hunter, that's where, like, I get to your point where they're just not playing the game. Like, yeah, you're staying alive, but you can do that on a lot of other subclasses. However, like, if you're using your debuffs, if you're blinding enemies with your smoke while you're going invis and, like, applying debuffs to your teammates and things like that, like, there's ways you can be super aggressive as an invis hunter and still, like, just play your life because you can just get in and out. But the clutch factor in GMs or solo content or, I don't know, pretty much anything, it's, like, really near the top of the meta for a lot of people. I would put it low S personally. I would put it under bubble, but I think it's low S.
I don't think it's even close to bubble. So for me, it's like low A. I don't know.
See, there could be an argument where bub goes to S plus though, up there with the other couple that I have in mind.
I mean, I need to put Well of Radiance in a tier by itself, so I cannot put anything on S plus because that's for Well. So,
spoilers, bro. What the hell?
I mean, it is how it is.
Yeah,
I'm legally not allowed to add everything else on anything else on S plus.
Maybe okay. I'm gonna put it at the top of A. I think it's above Rev and Shadebinder, or at Rev and Behemoth. Personally, I think it's a better subclass. So I'll put it top of A. Okay. So last we have Nova Bomb Warlock Voidlock.
It's a very good and clear subclass, but I don't think Controverse it's as good as Earth of Inmost Titan for Void.
No,
like if you
I
need
don't
to
think
run
so
the Vortex
either.
Nade build, I don't think they are on the same tier.
Okay, here's a question for you. Do you think Contra Lock is better than Tether? Like the Invis Hunter?
Red Clear for sure.
Brad Clear 100%. Yeah. So where would you place this on the list? So right now we have Bub at S, we have Tether high A, we have Rev A and Behemoth A with Shadebinder B.
For me, it's still better than Shadebinder overall, so A, but
Low A?
like like the last one on the list on A for me. Yeah.
Okay. True. All right. Let's move on to Solar. And I guess we'll start with Titan. What are we thinking? Like C? Like C or DT?
Sure. I can't put anything that like I need the tier by itself for Well. So like if you want to give me an S++ for Well, then I can put Bonk on S+ if you want. But I cannot like compare anything to Well.
Do you think it's better than Bubble? That's a tough question.
No. I think they're similar. I think they have different uses because in encounters where like it's actually hard to survive, if you're doing a solo GM, like sure, if you run that GM like maybe 100 times and you memorize every enemy spawn, then you can make a bit more use of Solar. But if you're going into a new activity that is actually hard,
yeah,
you don't have to like be point blank to targets on Void, so it's way safer and it's still very effective. So Solar has its own risk. Like we always meme about the fact that you're unkillable, but it's not the same. Like if you're on a GM on Solar and you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get ran.
It just even majors like fall over in one hammer. So for me, it's super fun. I think it's an S tier class, but like you said, a step below Bubble I think is a good spot. Let's move on to Solar Hunter Blade Barrage. Blade Barrage / Goldie for all the people in chat.
I think people that think Blade Barrage with Star Eaters is good are pure copium, and like Nighthawk is better in literally every situation, unless you're doing some stupid YouTube challenge. Because like the fact that it just half your Blade Barrage is gonna miss most likely just makes it bad.
What's your like initial gut feeling on where you would rank this class?
It's probably another A class.
I think it's A?
I don't know exactly where, but
I think it's A. Dude, this one's gonna piss people off for sure. I don't think it's nearly as flexible as something like Tether. Or even Rev. I think... Do you think it goes above Behemoth?
if font wasn't in the game, I think you could run 3 Nighthawks and 3 Warlocks in like any day one. It's so easy to use, like you can't miss it. You stay in position, so you don't have to like fly to the boss like Thunder Crash.
With Div in the game, you literally cannot miss.
Yeah.
I really do.
On my list, I think I'll put it above Nova, so like A above Nova.
You think
because
it's over
it has
Nova?
a better super.
Yeah. Dude, I
like
don't know.
Worse and clear, but better super. And the super usually matters a lot.
I just don't think like for the overall game it's as flexible. Like I think Nova Bomb or like Nova Lock has much more flexibility in like GMs and things like that. Where do you have Blade Barrage right now?
Like for me, it's in order. It's like Revenant, Behemoth, Tether, Blade Barrage, and then Nova. Like from better to worse.
This is my dude. To avoid the Hunter bias in the A tier, I'm gonna put it behind Behemoth. I don't run Behemoth much. I do think the neutral game of this class is like pretty weak, to be honest. Like Caliban's, I think makes up for the ad clear. I think a lot of
the infinite knives are pretty good, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but it just seems like why would you be throwing infinite knives if you could just use Forbearance or like any decent ad clear weapon? I feel like you're just wasting time. Like it just seems gimmicky. I don't know. My list is gonna differ from yours, for sure.
That's fine.
I think I'm gonna put Behemoth low A, just because I personally don't find the super to be that great with how slow the animations are. And the movement just feels wonky to me. Like, I get that, like, font is really
wonky.
strong, but I also feel like the Whisper of Chains is crazy. The 40% damage resist is insane. Like, with 100 Resil, it's, like, actually almost impossible to die on a Stasis Titan. It's crazy. Okay. I think I'm good with where these are right now. Let's move on to, well, we thinking, like, D? Maybe C?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, survivability, like a 1. No, so I think this is going to be probably the only S+ tier class.
If Well didn't have a grenade ability, didn't have a melee ability, didn't have Icarus Dash, and didn't have a Rift, it will still be S+. Just for the super. Like, literally, if you didn't have abilities on your character, but you had that super, S+.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Well enables so many things that shouldn't be possible in this game. And with the 100 Rezo, like, your well's never breaking. It was apparently nerfed. It literally feels like above. And I'm sure a lot of people felt like, oh, well got nerfed. Like, it's not as good as it was before. I haven't experienced a well breaking, and we've sat at boss's feet getting stomped for 5 minutes straight. Like, the super alone would keep it S+ tier, because in any damage scenario in a day 1, what do you need? What's the absolute necessity? It's a Well of Radiance to keep you alive, and it's a free damage buff you don't even have to think about. Well is the easiest way to proc Font of Might for your team with Supreme Wellmaker, and it enables all your other Stasis characters to literally have a free, 25% bonus that stacks with everything else. Well enables that. You don't have to dip out in and out of cover like you do with Bubble. It's literally just there. With Lunas, it increases your reload speed. You guys remember when Double Slugs and Hot Swapping got nerfed? You know why?
It was literally like, you literally had to nerf Lunas and the problem was solved. Like, it wasn't
exactly.
that deep.
You know why Hot Swapping and Double Slugs and Pellet Shotties got why Precision Slug Shotties got nerfed? It's because Well exists. If this and Luna's wasn't in the game, no one would have been sitting under Templar. The only thing that enables that is Well of Radiance. It's nuts. Like the subclass. No one's calling. I'm not gonna call for a nerf and I would avoid using that language because everybody's gonna get upsetty.
I will. Okay, nerf well.
Okay. Well, we don't really need to touch on like I said the subcategories.
Yeah,
it's like
fine.
pretty much god tier everywhere. So I guess we'll start with T Crash. What are your thoughts on Arc Titan at the moment? I know the nades are nuts. We are excluding the lightning strikes twice.
That mod is bad anyways. You don't want to use it.
What are you using to make the storm nades crazy?
No, I mean you just want double bomber on your class item so that every time you dodge.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, it's better.
Okay.
I think the dodge is awful. Like it's such a bad ability, but it's so good for atomic moss.
The thruster is tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, Crash is interesting, isn't it? Where would you? I don't even know where to put it to start. Like where?
I don't think it's S.
I don't think so either.
It's obviously not B, so it's somewhere in A.
You think it's the number 1 in A tier?
It may be, but like that's only due to like if you remove storm nades, then that's dropping.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
sucks.
those are here to stay because like the nades on that and the super with Curious are insane, like in their own right. Like those are both like huge draws to any team. I don't know. I don't think it's as flexible as I think the subclass has some fun parts to it. It's a super fun class to play. It's kind of a one-dimensional thing. We're gonna actually do Arc Warlock. Where would you? What are your thoughts on the class at the moment?
So I mean, it's probably worse than Shadebander. I think it goes to the bottom right now. I
think it's a C tier class at the moment. I think it's our
That's
only
fair.
C tier class. But I just don't think it got as much love on Arc 3.0 as the other ones did. Like,
I think like the new slide mill is absolutely baroque and probably the best ability in PvP in the game.
In
but
PvP,
like,
yes.
In PvP, yeah, like
PvE.
For PvE, it's like what does it bring to the table? It's worse with grenades than a Titan because the Titan has the aspect, which is kind of odd to be fair because Warlocks usually are the grenade class.
They're the grenade character,
and then,
yeah.
Like their melees are, I think they're pretty awful. I don't know. I don't like the melees at all.
Yeah, I don't like the ball lightning melee at all. Actually,
full Geomax super does the same damage as a Thunder Crash, but it takes like 8 seconds. So it's like,
well, and it's risky as hell too because you're just floating there in the air. You have like no mobility. I don't know, like not that Chaos Reach is like a terrible super by any means, but it's not. It's just like, dude, it got hit so hard by the Geo nerf and never got rebuffed. It's not a boss DPS super like at all, like it was before. Now it's like an ad clear super, and it's pretty good at ad clear, to be fair. One of the aspects that was super unique about this class too was I don't remember the name of the perk, but it was bottom tree. I think it was the Landfall Stormcaller, where you could run faster when you were near teammates, and a lot of people use that for Queen's Walk. That's now intrinsic on every class when you're you're amped up, and so it's like it lost that unique aspect as well, which would have like factored into its fun factor rating. So I don't know, I think C's fair. The last super is Gathering Storm.
I haven't played with it too much. I know the 1-2 punch build is very decent though, and Gathering Storm itself is also good. The
movement speed, like the amplified thing that they did with 3.0 Arc, I think is probably one of the most fun things they've ever added in the game. It's like super addicting to play with that. When you're on the ground, the jump is a little weird because it limits your jump height, which I don't like. But I mean, Liars with that super is so strong. I'm gonna be honest, Assault. I think I'm gonna slide Behemoth down to B for me personally.
I mean, that's fair. I'm not gonna do that.
I know you differ in opinion on that. Like you play more Titan. I'm more like weighted towards Hunters just because that's what I'm most comfortable with. So this is the interesting thing is like with Hunter subclasses, I don't feel like any of them are like the best in the game, but they're all solid, which is like, I don't know, it's the weird part. Like Tether has its place, Rev has its place, Blade Barrage has its place, and then they introduce Gathering Storm, and it's also like really solid. I know you haven't played with it much. Personally, this is my personal rating. I think it's better than Solar Hunter overall. I think the subclass is super good. I don't know if it's better than Rev. Yeah, I think Rev is definitely Really, really good. It's so close between Rev and Gathering Storm for me. Chat, if you guys don't follow Salt for whatever reason, I'm sure all of you do, please go drop him a follow on Twitch, but also sub to his YouTube. He does crazy low man's challenges, world's first raider. You guys should definitely go sub and follow if you don't already.
No,
yeah.
it was a lot of fun. We can do it again in the future if the meta changes.
Hey, once Strand comes out, we'll have to do it again, so
Yeah, okay.
unless they're irrelevant, but I don't know. I hope they're good. All right, man. Well, enjoy your night. I know it's late for you. Thanks for joining, man.
No worries. Thank you. It was fun. Have a good day, everyone.